everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay or Wait. Today we're going to be reviewing The Handmaid's Tale Season 3, Episode 7, Under His Eye. Yeah. You know I'm pissed, right? You know I'm pissed all the way off, heated to level 1,100, 1 trillion. Ooh. But I'm going to hold my tongue because that's going to be the last thing that I got to talk about because I'm going to get angry all over again and I'm not going to be able to like fully say anything, okay? So once again, thank you everyone who has donated to my GoFundMe, trying to raise money to go to Comic-Con where I was accepted as press. Thank you everyone who shared a link, who's donated. I appreciate you. I love you. I am here with you. Yes. And now make sure I'll keep the link in the description section below for anyone who wants to share to their social channels or donate. So let's talk about this episode. So I'm going to save June for last because there was just so much that happened with her and then the whole end portion of it. And the funny thing was like literally before the last 5 minutes even took place, I was just like, oh, well, this is kind of like a filler episode. Like stuff happened, but nothing really happened. It's like kind of setting things up for where these characters are going to go for the rest of the season. And then the last 5 minutes, and I was just like, no, I had to leave work. I was like, you know what, y'all? I can't take it. I gotta go. I can't do nothing else. I have to leave because I was so upset. So we're going to talk about the two people who I don't care at all about. Sarina and Fred, because I do not care about them. Sarina is dead to me forever. So they're still in DC. So Aunt Lydia and June, they're back. But Sarina and Fred, they are still in DC. I'm assuming that the Winslows are trying to basically win them over to try to make them want to come and live in DC instead of Gilead or instead of whatever town that they're in. And so essentially, Mrs. Winslow takes Sarina to look at a potential house. It's one of the last homes before where we are now. They haven't restored it yet. And so it's kind of interesting to see, you know, kind of kids' shoes. You see the newspaper, kind of everything. As if they were just going through normal life, a normal day, almost as if this happened just like that, and then everyone kind of just swarmed in and took everyone out of their homes. And so she's basically showing her like the different rooms, getting her like more interested, like this could be yours, we can clear all this stuff out. And so Sarina just says, like, you know what, just let me think about it. And then we see Mr. Winslow, and he's telling Fred that Canada is now open to an extradition treaty. And so I was just like, Canada, y'all, you're really going to send all these people back that you helped save? I don't understand how this is supposed to work. I don't know why you guys are so afraid of them, but this is getting out of hand. So they're basically trying to do this extradition treaty. So essentially they can extradite Nicole back, and also to any of the handmaids that, you know, escape, any of the other people, they can make them come back to the States. So he tells them that they make a good team. I was like, I bet you do think that they make a good team. And I'm sorry, you guys, that I left out how Mr. Winslow was grinding all up on Fred. I am so sorry y'all came for me. I apologize. But we're going to talk about it now, okay? So he said they make a good team. You know what that means. And then he also tells Fred that they have more leverage on Nicole, on Canada, if they let Nicole stay. So the longer that Nicole stays in Canada, the more that they kind of use that situation to their advantage to kind of get this extradition treaty signed. So it's kind of one of those things where you're just like, Fred, you say that you're trying to help Sarina, that you're trying to get Holly back, but really you're still satisfying your own political goals. It's all about what he can do to gain more power, to gain more status in the system. And so I thought it was interesting because we see that Sarina and Fred, they meet for dinner, and then he's basically telling her that he's going to get Nicole back. And then it was funny because Sarina was like, you know, that's weird because I thought that it would make more sense that you guys would need Nicole to stay there longer to gain more leverage. And so it's always interesting how Fred thinks that he's getting one over on Sarina, or he thinks that he's, you know, smarter than Sarina, and even how she kind of makes the joke, how the women, they're joking with amongst another, and then basically talking about how their husbands love to like show off or love to act like they're the smartest person in the room. And so Sarina knew exactly what the best tactic would be, but Fred tells her, no, I'm not worried about that. I can't promise you a timeline, but I'm going to get her back, knowing that this fool is lying. And basically what she said is exactly what you're trying to do, but you weren't even the one who came up with that. It was Mr. Winslow. So I thought that was interesting how Sarina always shows, like, essentially she's the one who created this society. She came up with all the concepts, and how the men are still taking credit and act as though that they're above women, that they're smarter than women, that women can't figure out, what they're really up to. So they both go to an event. It's like a ball they have, and then we see Sarina interacting with the women. And then I see one of the little women looking at one of the guardians like, hey, boo. I was just like, ma'am, you're not supposed to be having sex. You're not supposed to be looking at nobody. You're supposed to be living life, the life of the Lord, okay? The Lord is the one that you are looking up to. You shouldn't be looking at no guardians in no lustful way. But I saw what she was doing. And then so we see that I thought it was interesting that Mr. Winslow grabs Fred, and then he tells Sarina where the women are when they first arrive. But then it was interesting because before at dinner, they were telling a story about how they were supposed to be at some type of event, but instead they wanted to spend time with one another, and how at this ball, essentially Sarina and Fred, they were supposed to be handling, mingling with, him with the commanders, her with the wives, and how they kind of see each other from across the room. And then they end up doing this dance, getting everyone's attention. But guess what? I don't care, because I don't like neither one of y'all. Y'all both raggedy. Y'all both trash. It doesn't matter. I don't understand why they're trying to give us a storyline on how Fred and Sarina, they're connecting again. They're one again. I don't care. Thank you. So that's all I'm going to say about them, because it really doesn't matter at this point anyway. But we have to talk about Emily. So Emily gets a little bit more screen time. So we know from the household episode last week that the Swifts were going to be conducting their own investigation, that they were kind of going to be the mediators between Canada and Gilead. And so they're interviewing Emily because Gilead gave some information to them of her criminal background, how she stole a car and ran over the guards, how she stabbed Lydia in the back. And then also, too, we know that she poisoned the wife in the colonies, but they don't know the information yet either. But they're trying to show how she has all of these crimes that she needs to be extradited and basically be sentenced for. And I was just like, y'all cannot make Emily go back. What more does this woman have to go through before y'all can just let her live for a couple of episodes? I just don't understand. Can she just be fine for the rest of the season? Because it's just way too much. But we see that her wife is still there supporting her. And she tells her, like, I don't care what you did in Gilead. Like, you did what you need to do to survive. Like, it doesn't matter to me, but I want you to know that you don't have to go through this alone. But she tells her, I'm fine, I'm okay. And we see that Emily kind of struggles with letting her know everything that has happened. She's a different person than what she was when her wife knew her. And, and it's interesting how Emily and Moira talk about how Gilead basically made them become different people, violent people. And so we see that Moira and Emily talking. I was like, okay, I see y'all setting this little love thing up, because they both have stuff in common. They were both handmaids. They both escaped Gilead. So, like, it just makes more sense, and then it's easier for Emily to talk to her because she understands what happened. She understands, what they were going through. And so I thought it's funny when she's trying to get, like, her lesbian Carfax and know, like, all the people that she used to hang out with. And it's interesting to see Emily is so different. She was a book nerd. She went to Harvard. She was really just into her studies. Her wife was the only person she had really been with. And so I just find it so interesting because we know Emily as this rebel, who stands up for what she believes in, doesn't take any shit. And so to see her kind of like this quiet, mousely type of person is just so weird to see the contrast, of who she was in Gilead as to who she is now in Canada. But I see the little flirting that was going on between the two. I see y'all looking at each other, laughing. She even got Emily to go to like a little protest. And so they go to protest because the men are the prime minister, and they want to ask them, why are you guys even negotiating with Gilead? Why are you trying to do this extradition treaty? And one of the most powerful moments to me of the episode is when Emily kind of gets into the protesting mood, and then she basically tells him, like, I risked my life to get Nicole out, and don't, like, I did my part, now you do yours. And so that was so powerful to me because she did risk her life. She was not only fighting for her freedom, but she was also, oh my God, these gnats. Sorry, y'all. I apologize. Ugh. I'm gonna have to cut this out. Probably not. It's okay. Y'all can live with it. But she's basically trying to understand, like, why are you bending down to them? Why are we even having negotiations? Why are we talking? But we see that they both end up in jail for protesting. I was like, do people protest in Canada? Like, are people angry like this? Because I thought everybody's supposed to be nice. I didn't understand. I was just like, y'all gonna get in trouble. Stop it. Because you saw Mork shut the door. And I was just like, girl, I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want them to send y'all back. But so we see that they both end up in jail for protesting. And I love when she basically called Emily a prison bitch. And then she told Moira about how she killed the wife in the colonies. Moira told her about how she killed one of the commanders while he was asleep. And then they talk about, like, look what Gilead turned them into. And then she asks, have you killed anyone since you've been out? And she says no. And she's like, so we all good. But I see how y'all setting them up to kind of become lovers or best friends. I'm here for it either way. Interested to see how her and her wife try to work things out, because it does seem that Emily has a really hard time connecting with her. And so I want to see them explore their relationship more, and I want Emily to have a little bit more screen time. And I do find this whole extradition of bringing the people from Canada who escaped back to Gilead, I do find that whole aspect, this political aspect, very interesting. And I want to see or hear more about it. I don't want it to happen, but I do think that it will make things very interesting for this rebellion if they end up sending everybody back. And it will be totally effed up at the same time. But we got to talk about Jun, you guys. So the beginning of the episode opens up and we see that the handmaids have been called by Lydia to basically help hang people. So she was saying that the Lord is using you as his holy instrument. So basically to kill people. I was just like, how do y'all use all these crazy stuff that you do? How you kill people, how you torture people, and bring it all back to the Bible. I just don't understand it. But they killed a couple of guardians and a Martha. And so after they did it, she was just like, disperse. Go on about your day. But y'all got to get up out of here. Thank you for helping kill the people. But we don't need you no more. So I guess Messy was feeling better. So she was like, the woman mistreated her child. Like, Jun says, well, that's a good reason to hang someone sarcastically. And she was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, this bitch she get on my nerves. Yeah, I can't even take it. So she starts, I don't know if she was having contractions or it seemed like she was maybe having some nausea. And so Jun helped her, is telling her to breathe through it. And then Messy is talking about how, normally she has easy pregnancies, but this pregnancy has been a little bit more difficult. And then she started, like, I don't know if Jun felt like she was saying maybe she wanted to get rid of it. And then, like, she kind of started talking about how she had thoughts like that when she was pregnant with Hannah. And then girl, she kind of got mad. She was just like, I would never harm a child. And then she walked away. I was like, girl, bye. I'm sick of you already. And I'm still mad at her for what she does at the end. But in the meantime, Jun meets with the Mackenzies, Martha. They kind of come up with this plan in the grocery store to keep Messy distracted while she goes and talks to the Martha. She asks her more information about, like, how to find her. And the Martha is just like, why won't you leave her alone? The Mackenzies told you to not come around. And, why would you do this to your child? Like, it's too much. Like, it's too dangerous for you to try to flee with her. But I think also, too, it's kind of just like she told you of how, hard it was the first time when Jun went to go see Hannah. And then also, too, if she doesn't have a clear plan, and I understand she wants to see her child, but it's kind of just like, Jun, I thought we were, like, thinking things through, like, making full thought-out plans. I don't understand, but it's whatever. So basically, the lady tells her, hey, you can go talk to this guard. She'll be at school at this time. That's where you'll be able to see her. So Jun comes up with this plan when she comes back home to Commander Lawrence's house to basically kind of trick Mrs. Lawrence into going out for a walk. So she convinces her. She was like, you know what? I think I'll go out for a walk. And so while they're doing that, they run into Mrs. Putnam. And so when she was just like, when she was looking at the baby and she was just like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy you didn't die. I was like, ma'am, filter, okay? Why would you say that? That's not okay. And even Jun looking like, ma'am, I can't, like, dang, you done been out for 5 minutes, you already getting into it with someone. And Mrs. Putnam is just looking at her crazy, like, what is wrong with her? But Jun kind of intervenes, and then basically she stops, and we see that Mrs. Lawrence looks kind of troubled, and Jun's trying to see what's wrong with her, and then she talks about how she wanted a child how she wanted to have a child of her own, how her husband was against it. She was a teacher, but she was also bipolar. So now we know that she's bipolar and that they were always trying to figure out the right dosage. Her meds were always being changed at all times. And so at that point, it just wasn't in the cards for them to have children. And so this is a way for them to connect. We get to see her open up a little bit more, actually being able to interact with people. She seems very normal. And I wonder why, outside of her being bipolar, or is there something, if they find out that she has mental illness, that it will be an issue for her and Commander Lawrence? I'm not sure. But basically, Jun tells Mrs. Lawrence that she lied to her. She tells her the real reason that she wanted to go for a walk. And so she tells her we can go home now. But Mrs. Lawrence is just like, no, like we can make it. Let's go. Let's do it. So I was like, okay, look at them binding and stuff. And so we see when she gets to the school on time that Parker isn't there, the guardian that the Martha told her to meet with. But Mrs. Lawrence, like, we can do this. She talks to the guard. She's like, we were supposed to go on a tour, but they let her through. However, Jun has to stay behind. And so it's interesting because we see her hear the laughter. I guess the children are at recess, and I guess she can hear Hannah's laugh. She kind of goes back to when Hannah was a child and what her laugh sounded like. And I thought it was really interesting how even though she can't see her, to know that her child is on this other side of the wall, to know that she's that close to her, that's still enough to kind of settle her soul. And so as she's kind of in this trance, we see that the guardian pulls her away. Mrs. Lawrence is having an episode. The commander is just like, what's wrong with her? Why does she keep asking about the children? I can't let her in it. She's acting like this. And she tells her that she's not well. So I don't know if this is going to cause issues down the road, that she said that to the guardian. I'm not sure. But Mrs. Lawrence, like, where did you go? Like, you left me. And it seems that they had her, on edge. And so basically she asked her to take her home. And so when she get home, when Commander Lawrence was helping her upstairs, I was like, Jun, oh, I know he pissed. I know he pissed the hell off, like, okay? And so essentially, she tells her, like, when he's helping Mrs. Lawrence get back in bed, she looks at Jun's like, I'm sorry, like, please forgive me. And then she's just looking like it's okay. So, when he comes out from talking to her, she basically says, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I never had any intention to put her in danger. And then he's just like, you should have seen her. Like, she was herself again. Like, when she went outside, she was herself again. Kind of like, why are you keeping her locked up like this? It doesn't make sense to me. And so basically he just walks away. So they're pulled to another execution, okay? But then the girl tells her when they're at the execution, this is like the last 5 minutes when I'm thinking like, oh, ain't nothing really happened this episode. So essentially she tells her that the Mackenzies are gone, and then now there's another execution for child endangerment. So the Mackenzies' Martha is there, okay? And then I'm like, damn, like, was this Jun's fault? Like, what the heck happened? Then I was like, did she hurt the kid? Because you saw, like, at first Jun was like, Lydia told them to basically, like, pull the little things. And then Jun was, like, standing there just staring, like, I don't know if she's in shock or is act defiance. And Lydia was like, excuse me, like, chop, chop, pick up the thing. And I was like, girl, do not make a scene right now. But she picks it up, and then she says, under his eye, and then she pulls, and then basically, the lady dies. And so, because they hang her. And so then Jun had the angry look that she always has. And I was like, well, shoot, did the Martha, like, try to hurt Hannah? And that's why she was kind of just, like, giving her this look. But we see that she's actually giving Lydia this look. And so, I was just like, okay, but, like, something still doesn't quite make sense. Like, why now? Why all of a sudden did she get in trouble? And so I'm just sitting here all types of confused. And then, Lord, this is when I was so mad, y'all, okay? I was so mad. So they walking back. She tells them to disperse, okay? So they leave. Then Messi come up talking about, you should be thankful that your temptation has been lifted. I said, I know she didn't. I know she didn't. I know you didn't. I was like, oh my God. So she says that, and then basically she tells Jun that Lydia told her to watch what she was doing. So basically, and Lydia had a spy on June. That's why she put her as a walking partner. And so basically, she said that she saw her talking to the Martha at the supermarket. And so she wanted to protect her from herself. So she told Aunt Lydia what she saw. And so then Messy said, I saved you. And then, whoa. She grabbed that girl. June grabbed Messy and basically had her like kind of over, almost like halfway over the cliff. And then she was just like, she called her a bitch. She said, do you know what you did? And then everybody had to pull her off. And I was just like, but how did nobody see? Like, wasn't no guardians escorting them to where they needed to go. They just let them walk all willy-nilly by themselves. I didn't understand that part. But I was just like, oh, hell no. No, she didn't do what she did. I knew I couldn't stand your ass, but I didn't know you was going to go do some mess like this. Y'all, that whole last 5 minutes of the episode, that saved the entire episode. Because I was really going to be like, this episode was boring. It was definitely a filler episode. Definitely setting things up for the political aspects from what Canada is going to do as far as this extradition treaty, and also to setting up Moira and Emily growing closer together, and Sarina and Fred coming close together, which I still don't care about, but whatever. And the fact that him and Mr. Winslow are going to be working together more. But that last 5 minutes was all that I needed to see. I can't stand Messy. I hope she burn in hell. I know I ain't supposed to say that, but that's how upset I was about it. And this, ooh, it just got me all of my feelings, okay? I was really upset. I was heated at work. People was looking at me like, girl, what's wrong with you? And I was like, y'all just don't understand. But next week, you guys, we're getting the backstory for Lydia. Are you guys ready? Because I'm ready. So those are my thoughts on The Handmaid's Tale Season 3, Episode 7, Under His Eye. As always, my name is Sharona from Pure Weights. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.